The Division 3 has the tiniest update, but I still want to talk about it. Believe it or not, I used to exclusively make videos about the Division, and I am pretty highly anticipating this third game. So I figure I'll jump into my old territory. So let's jump into it. Okay, so we're gonna kick it off with the New Game Plus showcase. This was a big, like 3 hour long gaming showcase that happened. They're probably gonna need to cut down some of their talking in between segments, but there was some interesting stuff that came out of it, including Julian Garrity, who's the head of the Division franchise. After he was the lead on Star Wars Outlaws, he's back with the Division, kind of leading up the entire franchise. And he was asked about Division 3, and here's what he said.
The Division 3 is obviously going to be widely talked about, being confirmed. Can you give us any insights there, or can you even speak to what it takes to make a decision of like, okay, we are ready for a sequel, or we're at least ready to talk about said sequel when it's such a big franchise? When do those points come to be?
So the Division 3 is in production, right? This is not a secret. It's been announced. It's shaping up to be a monster. I can't really say anything more than that, but this is within these walls in Massive. We are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big an impact as Division 1 was.
I knew you were going to give me a line. The Division 3 is shaping up to be a monster. That's all I needed.
Perfect.
So obviously the hot take here, or at least the hot line that you've been seeing, very likely if you follow the Division, is that the Division 3 is shaping up to be a beast, as he said. I actually would argue the more significant thing he said in this little segment was that the Division 3 is in production. I don't know, like they announced Division 3 a couple years ago, and they've kind of vaguely, said that, yeah, it's still in development, whatever. If the word production is as significant as I think it is, and as it seems to be with other games, that's a big deal. That means that they have done pre-production on it. They've put together a team, and there is a sizable number of people working on the Division 3 right now. And that makes sense. If you look at what's going on with Ubisoft Massive, they have the Division 2 still has some ongoing stuff going on with it, but I believe that is mostly Ubisoft Bucharest who is leading the majority of that, even though there are still people at Massive who are kind of heads of that project with Yannick and so on. And then we have the Division Survivors, which is at least seems to be in some capacity a spiritual successor to the survival mode from the first Division game. It's going to be a new mode. I believe it's based off of the Division 2. I don't know if it's going to be standalone or DLC. I don't know if they've detailed that yet. If they have, let me know down in the comments. But if you take away those two projects, and then you see that Outlaws and Avatar are done, and Avatar just released their final DLC, as far as we know. You're talking about, a couple hundred devs there, a couple hundred devs that were on Outlaws, mostly old Division 2 and Division 1 developers. Now you have this situation where there's multiple hundreds of developers who don't have a current project. And it's likely they're all working on Division 3, which would make his comment about it being in production would make sense. There was also the thing that happened a few weeks or a couple months ago where it got reported that Ubisoft Massive was doing layoffs. When I talked to people who work there, and there was some other reporting as well. People like Rogue Gold talked about it, who's another who is the Division content creator. I probably shouldn't consider myself one of those anymore. But there was information. If you actually talk to someone who works there, you would find out that they legitimately just offered people like, hey, we're not going to be making more Avatar. We're not making more Star Wars. We're going back to the Division. And if that's not something you want to do, they were giving people an opportunity to look for something else and giving them a golden parachute on their way out. I suspect some of the people did take advantage of that. We'll never really probably know the details, but this is all exciting for me. The Division 1, I played literally thousands of hours of. It's how I started making content. It's how my podcast, the Bonfire, which used to be called the Echo Cast, and obviously having to do with the Division, it's how I started making content. It's why I started streaming. It's why I started doing everything I do today as kind of like a serious hobby. So I have the franchise to thank a lot for that. Division 2 came out. It was my first experience covering a game that was in development. I got to go to E3 in one of its final years in 2018 to see the reveal of Division 2 and to get to play it on site, play an early build and a bunch of really cool stuff like that. And then before Division 2 even released, I got to go to San Francisco to a press event and play and find out about the Black Tusk, which up until release essentially was like a secret. That was something that was very hush hush, and it ends up being a gigantic part of the game. And the post launch, it's one of the biggest storylines is what the Black Tusk faction is doing. I have waned. I literally haven't played Division 2 in probably 6 months. Before that, I would come up whenever they had new content. I would play. I would stream it typically, and I just I fell behind and I got more interested in other games. And that doesn't mean I don't still love Division 2 and Division 1. It just means I kind of lost interest in it. But Division 3, I'll be all over it, and I'll be covering it. It's going to feel nostalgic to cover Division videos or to do Division videos again. So let me know what you're thinking about Division 3 down below. I think here's a good one. Where do you think it's going to take place? I'm hoping Winter Chicago. Subscribe to the channel if you want more Division coverage and gaming news in general. Hit the like button so more people see the video. Leave comments, like I said, below to let me know what you're thinking. If you really want to support what I'm doing, consider becoming a YouTube member. You get videos like this one just a bit early. If you want to see everything else I'm making, if you want to see other ways to support what I'm doing, and if you want to donate to my Extra Life Children's Hospital fundraiser for this year, look in the links in the description of the video. You can find all of that down there. That is all I have for this one. So until next time.